Algebra 1, Section 3.8, we're dealing with ratio and rates. So, in the ratio, these are basically a comparison between two numbers. Okay, so A to B, or I can write it A to B, as we say it A to B. So two numbers and how they relate to each other. For example, you've seen ratios a lot, kind of like on your test scores, how much you got right compared to how much there are total. That is a ratio giving you your percentage. So the tennis team won 10 of its 16 matches. Find the ratio of wins to losses. So it won, okay, 10 of its games. If there's a total of 16 of them, then that means it lost 6. Okay, so the ratio is 10 over 6, 1.67. But if it was from loss to wins, then it would be 0.66. So it just matters on how they say this. This is your first number, this is your A, and this is your second number, which is your B. Okay? So rate. You run a 10-kilometer race in 50 minutes. What is your average speed? So I run 10 kilometers, right, and 50 minutes. I can reduce that to, 50. If I divide both top and bottom, it would be 1 to 5. In 5 minutes. 1 kilometer for every 5 minutes. And if I divide it, it would be 0.2 kilometers per minute. See, because these become kilometers per minute. So my speed, my average speed is 0.2 kilometers per minute. So go ahead and write this down. Don't forget your vocabulary. We're going to try some example problems with rates and ratios. So pause it, write it down, and then we're moving on. Okay, so here's the number of miles and the number of gallons you use. So we want to find the average gas used. So average means, anytime you see the word average, you want to add all of the numbers you have, okay, and then you want to divide it by how many numbers there are total. So let's try the average number of miles, okay? I'm going to add total number of miles, and I'm going to divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so total number of miles, and then, yeah. So, my total number of miles is 159 plus 237 plus 195 plus 215 plus 183. So this plus this plus this plus this, which equals 989. So this goes here. So this is 989 divided by 5, which gives us 197.8. This is my average number of miles. Now, I have to do the same thing to find the average number of gallons. Gas. Okay, same thing, total number of gallons. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equals 5 plus 6.9 plus 6 plus 6.5 plus 5.7 equals 30.1. That goes here. divided by 5. And remember, this number 5, I don't use it every time. I just use it 5 because there's 5 numbers. Okay, if there's 6, then I would put number 6. So 3.01 divided by 5, which would be 6.02. So this is miles, this is gallons. Oops. Now, to find the average, it's just asking us to find the average gas used. My apologies. So I didn't have to find the top. Oh, yeah. So the average of gas used, so yeah, no, I did have to find the top. My apologies. We're going to take the two numbers and we're going to find the rate. 197.8 over 6.02. The number of miles it took and how much gallons. So 197.8 divided by 6.02, which would be 32.86 miles per gallon. So this is telling me that this trip I used, for every 1 gallon of gas, I could go 32.86 miles. Okay, which is really not a lot actually. The other things you're going to be facing is to convert. For example, we're going to be converting 5 minutes to seconds. So let's start with our original number, which is 5. So 5 minutes. Now I have to find what the conversion is equal to. So basically I know that for every minute I have 60 seconds. Now I'm going to put it in a rate. Here's a trick. I want to know how many, what number what to put, right? Because if I put, there's 1 minute for 60 seconds, okay, then that means if I work this out, I'm going to have minutes squared per second. Remember, because whatever's at the end is how I'm going to, is what it's going to be, minutes, gallon. But I have 2 minutes multiplied together over seconds. I want to get rid of the minute because I just want to be left with seconds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 60 seconds up here. Okay, because it means the same thing. It's just the reason why I put 60 on top and 1 minute here is because when I actually multiply it out, right, 5 times 60, I'll have minute per second up here and just 1 minute here. What happens is this minute and this minute cancel out and I end up with just seconds. That's what I want to do. I want to create the second equation and put it in the right way so that this cancels out and I end up with what I want to be left with, which is seconds. If I did it the other way, then nothing would cancel out because I have both minutes on top. Alright? So 5 times 60, which would be 300. I could have done that in my head, my apologies. 300 seconds. And that's my conversion. So 5 minutes is 300 seconds. Now you could have easily done that in your head, yes, but for more difficult problems, you're going to want to know how to set this up for the easier ones. So the easier questions allow us to set it up and understand the basics, and when we get more difficult, then we can understand how to solve it. So the next one is 180 inches 2 yards. Okay, so our original is 180 inches. Now, I don't know how many inches there are in a yard, but I do know that there are 3 feet in 1 yard. So what I can do, you can look it up on the internet also, but what I can do from the information I do know is I can set up 2 conversions. So 180 inches 2 yards, I know that for every 1 feet, 1 feet is 12 inches, right? Because of that, I can now cancel out inches. But but my answer right now is going to be in feet. I don't want it in feet. I want it in yards. And I know that for every 1 yard, there are 3 feet. So this then also cancels out feet. So I left with just yard. So what I end up with is 180 times 1 times 1 over 12 times 3. And inches have canceled out, feet have canceled out, so I end up with just yards. So 180 times 1 is 180, divided by 12 times 3, which is 36, 5. So it would be 5 yards. So this one only took 1 conversion, this one took 2. You can do as many as you would like, as long as you end up with the same one as this. If you went on Google and looked up how many inches are in a yard, then you would only need 1. In this case, I didn't have that information, so I used the information that I did know. So it doesn't matter how many, as long as I start with what they give me, and I end up with what they wanted. Even though I had to get rid of some other ones in between, perfectly fine. So go ahead and try. This is was a little bit more difficult, but we can tackle any questions you have in class. Page 180, number 6 and 10 is what you're going to try. Page 180, number 6 and 10, and I will see you in class.